Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Darkest Corner. Today's tales are abandoned haunted places. Thank you. Enjoy.
The wind, a mournful sigh, whistled through the shattered windows of the Temple of Whispers, a place long forsaken by both gods and men. Once the air within its sandstone walls hummed with the fervent chants of devotees, the scent of burning sandalwood thick and sweet. Now only dust motes danced in the slivers of sunlight that pierced the decaying roof, illuminating the intricate carvings that time and neglect had begun to erode. Legend clung to the temple like the tenacious vines that snaked across its facade. They said the last high priest, a man named Kalen, had angered the old gods with his hubris, attempting a ritual of immense power that twisted the very fabric of their domain. The gods, in their wrath, didn't strike the temple down with lightning or earthquake. Instead, they withdrew, leaving behind a chilling emptiness that slowly filled with something far more unsettling. Villagers from the nearby hamlet spoke in hushed tones of strange lights flickering within the temple at dusk, of whispers carried on the wind that spoke in forgotten tongues. Some claimed to have seen spectral figures gliding through the crumbling courtyards, their sorrowful eyes fixed on some unseen tragedy. No one dared venture close after nightfall, the oppressive silence emanating from the ruins more terrifying than any scream. A young scholar named Alara, however, was not easily deterred by superstition. Driven by a thirst for lost knowledge, she sought out the Temple of Whispers, drawn by rumors of ancient texts hidden within its depths. Armed with a satchel of supplies and a flickering lantern, she pushed open the heavy moss-covered doors, the groan of stone against stone echoing through the desolate space. The air inside was heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something faintly metallic, like old blood. Ilara's lantern cast long, dancing shadows on the walls, revealing faded murals depicting celestial beings and forgotten rituals. The silence was profound, broken only by the skittering of unseen creatures in the shadows. As she ventured deeper into the temple, a chill permeated the air, despite the warmth of the day outside. A whisper brushed against her ear, too faint to understand, yet undeniably present. She paused, her heart pounding, but dismissed it as the wind playing tricks within the ruins. In the main chamber, beneath the gaping hole in the roof that allowed the moonlight to paint silver patterns on the floor, she found an altar, cracked and covered in a layer of dust. Upon it lay a single leather-bound book, its pages brittle with age. As Ilara reached for it, a gust of wind swept through the chamber, extinguishing her lantern and plunging her into darkness. Panic flared, but just as quickly, a soft, ethereal glow emanated from the far end of the chamber. In the dim light, she saw figures coalescing, translucent forms of priests in ancient robes, their faces etched with sorrow. They moved with a silent grace, their eyes fixed on the altar, their lips moving in silent prayer. Fear threatened to paralyze Ilara, but curiosity held her rooted to the spot. She watched as one of the spectral figures reached out a shimmering hand toward the book on the altar. As its fingers brushed the ancient text, a wave of images flooded Ilara's mind. Visions of the high priest Kalen, his face contorted in a mixture of ambition and terror, chanting words of power as a swirling vortex of energy erupted around him. She saw the horrified faces of the other priests as the ritual spiraled out of control, the temple shaking, the very air crackling with malevolent energy. Then just as suddenly as they appeared, the visions vanished, and the spectral figures began to fade, their mournful whispers echoing in the silence. The ethereal glow subsided, leaving Ilara once again in near darkness, the faint moonlight her only guide. Trembling, she relit her lantern and approached the altar. The book lay exactly as it had before. With hesitant hands, she picked it up. As her fingers touched the aged leather, a final whisper echoed in her mind, clear and full of regret. "Forgive us." Ilara spent the next few days within the haunted temple, carefully deciphering the ancient text. It detailed Kalen's forbidden ritual, his desperate attempt to commune directly with the old gods, and the catastrophic consequences that followed. The ritual had not only angered the gods, but had also trapped the spirits of the priests within the temple, forever bound to the site of their leader's transgression. Armed with this knowledge, Alara realized the whispers were not malevolent, but pleas. The spectral figures were not meant to frighten, but to communicate their sorrow and their desire for release. Leaving the temple, Alara carried with her not only the ancient text, but also a profound understanding of the tragedy that had befallen this sacred place. She knew her task was far from over. The Temple of Whispers remained abandoned. The wind howled a mournful dirge through the skeletal remains of Oakhaven, a town swallowed by the relentless march of time and neglect. Buildings stood like hollow-eyed specters, their windows dark sockets staring out at the encroaching wilderness. But it was the cemetery on the hill that truly held the town's tormented soul. St. Michael's Cemetery, in its prime, had been a place of somber beauty, a final resting place adorned with carved angels and marble epitaphs. Now it was a chaotic jumble of toppled headstones and overgrown graves, a testament to the town's forgotten existence. The wrought iron fence, once a barrier between the living and the dead, lay twisted and broken, like a skeletal hand reaching out. Local legends whispered of strange occurrences within the cemetery's boundaries. Some spoke of flickering lights dancing among the graves on moonless nights, while others claimed to hear disembodied voices carried on the wind, weeping for lost loved ones or cursing their untimely demise. The most chilling tale was that of the Lady in White, a spectral figure said to wander the cemetery, forever searching for her lost child, her sorrowful cries echoing through the night. One crisp autumn evening, a group of thrill-seeking teenagers, armed with flashlights and bravado, decided to explore the haunted cemetery. Led by a rebellious youth named Jake, they ventured past the rusted gates, their laughter echoing nervously in the eerie silence. As they delved deeper into the graveyard's heart, an unnatural chill permeated the air, causing goosebumps to rise on their skin. Shadows stretched and twisted into grotesque shapes, playing tricks on their eyes. A sudden gust of wind swept through the cemetery, carrying with it a faint, mournful wail that sent shivers down their spines. "Did you hear that?" whispered Sarah, her voice trembling slightly. "It's just the wind," Jake scoffed, trying to maintain his bravado. But even he couldn't deny the unease that settled over the group. As they reached the oldest part of the cemetery, where the headstones were weathered and illegible, they stumbled upon a freshly dug grave. The earth was still loose, and a sense of profound disturbance emanated from the site. A sense of wrongness, of a violation of the natural order. Suddenly, a dense fog rolled in, obscuring the already fading light. The teenagers huddled together, their flashlights cutting through the swirling mist, revealing ghostly figures that seemed to materialize from the fog itself. The Lady in White appeared before them, her ethereal form gliding between the tombstones. Her eyes, hollow and filled with an ancient sorrow, fixed upon them, and a chilling wail escaped her lips, a sound that resonated deep within their bones. Panic seized the teenagers. They turned to flee, but the cemetery seemed to shift around them, the tombstones moving, the paths twisting, trapping them in a labyrinth of the dead. The ghostly figures closed in, their spectral hands reaching out, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. Jake, in a moment of desperate courage, remembered an old legend. It was said that the Lady in White could only find peace if her child's grave was marked and honored. He noticed a small, unmarked mound nearby, and on a hunch began to clear away the debris. Beneath the overgrown weeds, they found a small, weathered headstone, barely visible. It read, "Infant beloved child." As Jake read the inscription aloud, a sense of calm washed over the cemetery. The ghostly figures receded, the fog dissipated, and the Lady in White turned towards the grave, a faint smile gracing her lips. She slowly faded away, her wail replaced by a soft sigh of contentment. The teenagers, shaken but relieved, left the cemetery as the first rays of dawn painted the sky. They never spoke of their experience to anyone, but the memory of that night remained etched in their minds, a chilling reminder of the secrets hidden within the haunted cemetery of Oakhaven. The town remained abandoned, but the cemetery, no longer a place of torment, held a fragile peace the restless spirits finally laid to rest.